We are back with myself, Charlene Smith, and Pippa Monique.
Hey.
Right, so topping the headlines at the moment is Marcus Rashford and his campaign behind free school meals. So as we know, he was brought up in a single parent family. He was one of 5 children. What is your views, Pips, on Marcus Rashford being so involved in this campaign?
I love hearing stories like this. I mean, you normally do hear success stories where it's like a rags to riches. And you just think, wow, I know it's possible. I know it can happen. People have like come from poor economic situations, like single family households and not having a huge amount of income. And then they grow up to be a successful person. But for some reason, this one felt so close to home because obviously I'm a mother and in a single parent household. And my child does receive free school meals. I mean, we're not struggling, but to hear his story, it was a bit relatable because of that. And to hear he's so successful now, he could just get on with his life and just do generational wealth and look after his family and family to come. But the fact that he's spearheading this massive campaign it's amazing. And he's so young, and obviously I know he's got a team around him that's helping him do this, and I know he's got amazing brothers and family that's probably supporting him, as well as his PR team or whoever it is. But I know that this is coming from his heart, and it's amazing. He is a young footballer that so many people could look up to.
Especially being, 22 years old. Normally footballers of that age are just interested in cars, fancy clothes, but to see him campaigning like this is a massive thing. He also wrote a letter to the government asking them to do a U-turn for the free school meals throughout the 6-week period. He spoke quite openly as well about him receiving free school meals at school, breakfast clubs, and also attending food banks as well. I mean, what is your views on childhood poverty in 2020?
It's insane. Like, as I said, like I'm not in poverty and I don't see many people around me in poverty. But the thing is, you wouldn't know, because obviously some people could be ashamed of their situation and could carry on life as normal. And you have no idea that people living in inner city London and throughout the UK are going through poverty. And it's hard to believe, really, in 2020, where we have so much resources and funding for so many things. You just think, how is this even possible? Children, I think it should be part of the school program. Like, children should get free school meals regardless.
And for the government to make a U-turn, the turnaround was quite quick as well, from Rashford writing the letter to now. I mean, how significant do you think that is?
This is why it's so important for people with voices and powerful voices to use them. I mean, I can't give you a clear example, but there's been situations in the past where my mum will be like, write a letter to your local MP, do this, do that. And I just think, what's the point? They're not going to listen. But they obviously sometimes they do. But when you have someone of big status such as Marcus Rashford or any Premier League footballer that comes out and says something, you're bound to listen, because you cannot pretend that you didn't hear that, because it's coming from someone with a huge following who's on a huge platform, plays for a massive club, that you have to hear his message. So I always feel like when big things are happening or something needs to be said, people of big status should really come out and use their platform and say things, because things like this happen, change happens, and people are listening. The people that are supposed to listen will listen.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm in full agreement with you on that. So as well as Rashford putting this out, what other changes would you like to see, or other support?
I don't know if I'm going far off the mark here, but if we can get something like free school meals to do a U-turn in the UK. For years, a lot of campaigns and local communities have been asking for things like youth centres to be reopened. I could just be off the ballpark here, but Ooh. I think that would be, if someone with great status could do something. I mean, maybe we're just taking advantage of the situation, but there's no such thing as taking advantage of things like this. I feel like if we can do that, someone with a voice should make that happen, because a lot of communities ask for that.
And I mean, there is a lot of children that are obviously on the streets getting into, perhaps the wrong crowd. So to have youth clubs reopened and a place for them to go and enjoy and socialise in the right way could actually make a huge difference to our streets as well.
Exactly. So who would have thought at the end of lockdown that Marcus Rashford would become a national treasure? I've seen people reposting all day about this young man who probably didn't get spoken about that much, because he just keeps himself to himself. He's focused. He's good at what he does. He's a great striker, but we never really talk about him off the pitch. And he's made such an impact in this country that he will be a name that's spoken about for a very long time. Legend in the making.